Alright, I just got out of welding class. Let's do the video finally. It's done! Woo! It's finally out. I made it. It's done. Is it great? I don't know. That's up to you. But I think it's pretty good. So here's my game. Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Ty Peterson. I'm the creator of Rapunzel, and in this video I will show you how to play the game and essentially what the game is. If you'd like to skip to any individual part of the video, the timestamps are in the description. Let's start off with how to play and what you get in your copy of Rapunzel. Inside your copy of Rapunzel, it will include 3 castle pieces, 4 knights, 1 princess, 2 stairwell pieces, 1 dice, 1 deck of cards, and 1 accordion board set. Game setup is as follows. Lay out your board, stack your stairwell, white first, red second, and then stack your castle pieces. When finished setting up your game, place the princess at the top of the tower, and all players will start at the assigned starting position. Remember to always shuffle your cards before any game. Now that we have our board set up, our cards shuffled, and the princess is at the top of her tower, let's learn how to play the game. In order to understand how to play the game, you should first understand what cards are in the deck. In your deck, you will find 2 types of cards, instant actions and hand actions. The instant actions are the most basic, so let's start with those. In your instant action cards, you will find roll again, move to red, move to blue, move to purple, move to green, move back to red, move back to blue, move back to green or red, and haircut, all of which will be used as soon as they are drawn. Now let's go through the following. To start, let's use our red guy as our example. He moves to a question mark space and draws a move to green, purple, blue, or red card. He will move to whatever color is on the assigned card. So for example, he gets moved to red. He goes to the red space. Simple enough. Let's move on to our move back to cards. Our red pawn here has landed on a question mark space. He will draw a question mark card, which involves move back to red, blue, green, or red. If he draws either of these 2 cards, he will move to the assigned color on the card. However, if he gets a decision-making card, he gets to choose which one he wants to move back to on. However, if there is no green behind him, he must go to red. As such, if there is no red behind him, he must go to green. For this next example, we will be using the full game setup with multiple players and the princess involved. We will scatter our players as such. One of our pawns has landed on a question mark space. They draw a question mark card, and it happens to be haircut. The princess will stay where she's at. That now becomes her tower, and all players go back to start. This is now her tower. The game has now reset. All players are going towards her, and they are trying to attempt to take her from here and back. If it makes it easier, you can put her towers on that space. In the case that no one has had the princess yet and the haircut card is drawn, all players still go back to start and restart the game. Moving on to our hand actions, we have rejection, imposter, and cross paths. Starting off with our imposter card, one of the players has drawn the imposter card. They get to keep it face down on the table till they are ready to use it. If one of the players has the princess and they are making headway back, and purple would like to play their imposter card, they can flip it over at any time, whether it be their turn or not. Red has to stay on the space they are on, and the princess gets returned to the tower. Once used, discard the card. Moving on to our cross paths card, if we say that red has had the cross paths card in their hand, it is now face down. Purple has rolled a 6. They will go forward 1, and red will take the remainder of their turn by flipping over their cross paths card and going forward 5 more. In a similar situation where purple has the cross paths card face down and red has rolled a 6 with the princess in their clutch, they will go forward 1. Purple will play their cross paths card and go forward 5 more with the princess. Now it does not matter which direction purple was originally heading, they now have the princess and are now going back to start. Moving on, let's talk about the rejection card. Any person who draws this must keep it into their hand until they are ready to use it. If a player has reached the top of the tower, a player may play the rejection card. This means the player at the top of the tower must come down without the princess. Now that we understand what our cards do, let's talk about the rest of the game. The goal of the game is to be the first of your friends to take the princess from the top of her tower and rescue her and bring her back to the start. However, your friends can steal her across the way, either by using the cards or a few other extra rules. Now that we know how the game works, let's talk about the board itself. The board is made up of 26 spaces of varying colors and effects. The basis of your game is rolling the dice in order to move. If you land on a colored space, there is no effect. However, if you land on a question mark space, you will draw a question mark card. Once a card is used, always discard it. There are spaces on the board that do separate things that may not be obvious at first, such as secret passage. If you directly land on it, you will head up to the tower immediately. The white staircase block is the equivalent of a question mark space, so if you land on this block, do draw a card. Now that we understand the board, let's talk about movement. Movement in the game can be a little confusing as you learn, but I promise you, you will get the hang of it in no time. The main guide you can use to understand how movement works is if the princess is at the top of the tower, you are now heading to the top of the tower. So at the beginning of the game, all players go towards the top of the tower. When you make it to the top of the tower, you immediately roll again to go back down the tower. You do not wait on top. When you make it down the tower, if you land on secret passage, you immediately go back up again and keep rolling until you do not land on the secret passage. If you have already made it to the top of the tower, you may start heading back down the board. If you have not, you still need to make it up to the top, even if the princess is not there, in order to head back the other way. Same goes for the start. If you have not made it back to the start, you cannot start going in reverse direction until you have made it there, and now you can start heading back. There are a few ways for movement to reset, such as the imposter card. When this card is played, the princess will go back up to the top of her tower, meaning all players are now heading back to the top of the tower no matter which direction they were originally going. Same goes for the haircut card. If the haircut card is drawn, the princess stays where she's at. However, all players will go back to the start. When this happens, all players now head towards the princess as if it was her tower. Let's talk about the most basic way to steal the princess in this case, which is landing on the same space as somebody with the princess. If you two both happen to land on the same space, whether the person with the princess lands on your space or you land on their space, you guys both roll for high roller. The high roller will get the princess. In the case of a tie, whoever did not have the princess originally now owns the princess. You can now start heading back even if you were not already going that direction. In the case that 3 people or more all land on the same space at the same time, all 3 or 4 will roll the dice for high roller. In the case of a tie between 2 people who did not already have the princess, do another high roller contest. Alright, let's talk about the final rule in the game. As you can see, I've landed on a white space, so I draw a question mark card. However, it says move to blue. There is no blue in front of me. What do? Well, you actually move back to the blue space behind you. If in any case you have a move to card and that color is not in front of you, you move backwards to that color. Alright, so that is the game. Before I finish out this video, I just want to say thank you to anybody who's even scanned the QR code on the box. If you are looking at this video, I'm very happy that you took interest in my game. I just want to talk about a little bit of backstory to this game, and thank a few people before I end this video. So the game Rapunzel was made on January 10th at like 5 a.m. I just wasn't sleeping and I decided to make a children's game. I had made board games prior, but I hadn't released any of them. It was more for my like private use. But this was the first one that seemed like it might be possible to release, not because it's necessarily my personal favorite game I've made, but because it seemed like it was an easy enough concept to manufacture and ship out to people. So from then on, I started hanging out at the game store. Me and my partner were constantly playing it together, whether it be over video call or in real life. And eventually, by February 23rd, I felt like I had a pretty solid game, and I felt comfortable releasing it. And I had a lot of people who were really happy to buy a copy, had some pre-orders, and some people just, booked copies, and that made me really excited. And I just want to thank the main place that let me proto-test this, like almost every day I was there, and it is Geeks and Games, Oregon City. They're a very nice game shop, and I highly recommend going down there. They have such a wide variety of products in there, and it is amazing. They have all sorts of indie games and small games, big games, cult classics, games that you've probably never even heard of. It is just an amazing store, and I really highly recommend going down there. The owners are super nice, and the employees are always more than down to tell you about what the greatest games are right now. If you want to keep up with me or any of my future projects, or you just want to know more about me in general, you can follow me on Instagram at Ty Uses Yo-Yos with No String, or you can follow the Instagram account for this in particular board game. It will become a brand account eventually, and it is called at Rapunzel_board_game on Instagram. Thank you to anybody who scanned the QR code again, and thank you for purchasing the game if you have, and that's how you found me. I hope you have fun with this copy, and have a good day.